Hello, this is Vance, and this is Thursday, January the 3rd, 2013. And these are the CL trades for today. It's kind of early. I know it's kind of early. It's just only 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. I've got a few things to do today, so I thought I'd wrap it up. I probably do this right now so that you kind of take care of this. And therefore, I'm going to just kind of go over the trades, the things that I saw. You saw this trade this morning, and the things that I was talking about with reference to how I manage this particular trade and why I saw this trade. I talk about measured moves, and maybe I can kind of give you an explanation of what I really look for in reference to what a measured move is. These two bars here, for instance, are significant bear bars. We did have a pullback, and then we had another significant run down. Now, if I look at this, if this is the top of the range, let's take a look at this. This is your first leg down here to this point. Price pulled back, and the second move down. Now you can see that this is exhaustion. It got to this point and turned around right at that point. So I think that's two legs down. If you look at this increase here we had price go up here. It pulled back, breakout pullback, two legs up. So on a shorter time frame, or on these bars, that to me looks like this would be an area of some interest. Now, it's evident that this is a double top. You can see right across here, on the close of this bar. I'm going to take it even a little higher. So, from the opening and from yesterday, so this looks like it's going to be resistance of some kind. And after we have that failure, and we do have this failure right at, I call it a failure, but I mean we have this pullback from off of here. Price makes two legs up, two legs down. As a result, when it comes to this level here, this support, why am I looking here? Well, this is a second entry long. It's off of the support. I don't really have this trend channel in as of yet, but I think it's evident you can see the price makes a new high here. This is a first entry for a potential long. This is a second entry down here when price closed. Now, why would I take it fairly early? It's because it's based on this support here, and if my stop is going to be, let's say this price right here is, I think it's 92.57 right here. Having a 15-tick stops puts me at 92.42, which is below these bars here. And I believe that if price continues going down here, that will be a failure. But I believe this is support. And as a result, by taking a trade here, does it have enough room to get to these levels right here? Well, it certainly does. Now, it didn't quite make it. It kind of stalled just as it got past this EMA. But depending on if you got in here low enough, you would have gotten your 15 ticks. The pullback is a concern, certainly. If a doji forms in this particular thing, it could come back. But if it starts forming this is where if I got in here and this pulls back here, this is after this bar closes, I would move to a break even +1 and would look at it as a scratch trade. But in this case, it likely got your 15 ticks on this particular bar. If you got in right here at 92.58, let's say, this is 92.81. I mean, by the time this is on the same bar, it's 92.78. So there's plenty of room to get your 15 ticks here before it comes back. So that's why I thought this was, that's the reason. Of course, this is in hindsight. We're looking at this in hindsight, this particular trade. Now, price attempted to go higher, and you could say that this was two legs up too. This is the first leg up. Price pulled back. The second leg up. Exhaustion. Right at this. So now this is the new double top, right? Price comes back and pulls back here. So now it's looking like it's two failures. This is a first failure down. This is a second failure down. Okay. Price went up. So this is you consider this a breakout pullback. Now on a shorter time frame, like from right here, this would be a second entry long. Price makes a new high on this off of this bar, pulls back the first time, pulls back the second time. So you could, again, get in here. Your stop would be below this level right here. But if you waited, when it closed, you saw where I got in. I got in just above this bar here because once it pulled back, it was a strong bar out of here. Yes, we're close to the top, but I think that we're going to retest, at least test this high. And you saw me talk about that. I think it's going to be at least, and if it gets up around here, I can close up my stop if it makes it this way. And as it was, I got my 15 ticks out. And it went further than that. And you saw how we managed that. However, it did meet resistance to this area and resistance to that area. After this, I draw this little trend line here. You saw that trend line here, from this overnight, a couple of first two swings. I double this. I pull it up here. And now I'm going to see how it's going to respond to this area. This is a short, but I was in this long. That's why I didn't take it. But you could have taken this short. I could see why. I think we're going to come back and test it. It didn't make it all the way down. Now, when price hesitated here, attempted to go down. First time failed. Second time failed. Right here. When this bar closed, it's a very strong bar. I think we're going to be testing this high. It's kind of more like I'm looking maybe a swing and maybe going higher. But going here, I took this trade. I didn't mark it. Why? Because I got the 14 ticks. It didn't close. I didn't get filled. It came back and took me out. And so this was a scratch trade. I didn't mark it because it was a scratch trade. But this is a pretty decent setup. It's a setup that didn't work. So this was a good trade that just didn't work out. This is a short. You can say this is a short because this, in fact, turned into a trap. Now, I knew I was in trouble when this closed right here, this doji. Now, was I quick enough to move it up? Well, you never know. I mean, it was only a couple of ticks. I had my stop. It was a break-even stop, break-even plus one. It might be a breakout, might be just a breakout pullback, but it came back and took out my stop. This is a short. Now, you think we give at least room to here, but as you can see, it came back and it tested this trend channel. But I didn't take this because I was already in this trade, and this, so that didn't work out. Anyway, all this stuff here. This is all overlap, and this is a bunch of junk. And I was mentioned on the other video that I was looking at taking a trade somewhere in here if I got a proper setup. Now, there's a couple that you could have perhaps taken. First failure down, second failure down, and then you could have gone long here. But I wasn't convinced. And the reason I wasn't convinced is that this is taking a long time. This is 10:30. This is 10:30 from here at this bar to this bar. This is 10:20, and this is 10:30. So 10 minutes. Price is going up, and I was watching the price action. It was jumping around all over the place. I don't know. I'm half thinking that this might even be a measured move down. This is the first leg down. Price pulls back. It could very well be a second leg down. Okay, and if second leg down, so my stop would instantly get hit. So that's what my concern is. But this is a double bottom, and we're off of this support. I waited. I wanted to see some clarity on this. Well, this bar comes up. It fails. Now, this looks like it's going to go down, but then it immediately does an about face. Then, instead of now, is this a place to go long? Well, it's a strong bull bar, but then it turns around and comes down in this direction. Well, now I'm waiting for this bar to complete. Now, this might look like it's continuing to go down, and then we have this part that comes up. So this whole area is really overlap in the worst kind of way because they're big swings and it's really junk. So, I mean, to watch it from here, and now we're talking 10:20, by the time this bar completes, it's 10:56. It's almost 40 minutes of this. And so sitting here for 40 minutes, trying to think of whether or not I should get off this bottom, that was a concern. Okay. However, when it got to this level, and I marked this in green, now I'm thinking that support is more along here. Okay, now we still got support. So this trend channel, this bottom trend channel is still in play. It's not really out of bounds. Okay. And because I don't think it's out of bounds, because it's not going any lower. So let's say the bottom line is 92.79, and here 92.86, somewhere in that neighborhood. Okay. That's the very low. But even these bars, it's forming these double bottoms on the close. So there's really reluctance to price going down any further. So I'm thinking that we're still potentially going to have some longs. I think we're still going to be testing it to the higher side. And I'm looking at it from this perspective. Because if you look at it from the right side of the chart, this bar looks like it's potential trade. This closes down. This closes up. This closes down, this closes up, this closes down, this closes down, this closes kind of like neutral. This is a strong bull bar. Okay, so anyway, the reason that I would think that this was a trade here, especially on this, is because This is a second entry long. It's with the trend. It's not as much overlap as these ones. And it was instant rejection. So price makes a new high, first entry, comes back, comes down, and then closing on this doji, second entry. Now, it's on a doji. That's why I marked it in green. We got room to get to the top if you want to tighten up your stop. And as it was, it pulled back. Now, when price completed here, the strong bull bar, this is a breakout pullback, and this is a long, closed right here. And this would have given you barely your 15 ticks. Now, look at this. We had this big pullback. As long as you keep your stop below here, you'd been fine. But look at these bars here. These are significant overlap. So there's really reluctance of price going up any higher. And that was my day. That's why I'm finished, because even the explanation's taken a lot out of me. Like, to talk about why I was thinking. Of course, here I am thinking and trying to be flexible, but my mind's flip-flopping to this way, that way, this way, that way. And you have to really be cautious about that, because if you're flipping too much, the tendency is for you to pull the trigger on trades that are less than acceptable. And I have to caution myself with that as well. You have to really think very carefully about trades, especially in stuff like this. And that's why it's really terrible to this kind of stuff is really difficult to kind of sit through, because you're sitting on your hands and you want to take a trade. And quite frankly, if you're not in a trade, I have to resist the feeling that I'm not making any money or I'm not doing something. And that's what you have to really remember, that if you're sitting through waiting for your setup, you're actually doing something. It's important to do those things. I keep reminding myself. I have to remind myself that probably 100 times a session. Well, maybe not that many, but remind myself that sitting here watching for my particular setup or pulling the trigger on a trade is as important as being in a trade. And that patience is a very big part of trading. It's all important. There isn't one thing that's more important than others. It's all important. So anyways, I'm giving you my thoughts as best I can. I hope I make a lot of sense. I mean, that's I hope you kind of get some feel about what I'm talking about here. That's it for today. It's been going on 12 minutes. As I'm looking at the chart right here, this kind of looks like a strong completion right here. This looks like a potential trade. Get some room to get out here. But as I said, I'm pretty much finished for today. I've got some things to do, and if there's any questions, I'll try to answer them later on today. But that's enough for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day. If not, there's always tomorrow. Bye for now.